Parviz Rabi, attorney at law, have been practicing for over 20 years. Our office is located by San Francisco Airport, specializing in employment law. Today's topic, on-call employees entitled to compensation. In California, workers have the right to be fully compensated for all the time spent under their employer's control, whether they are actively working on the job site or on call at home. On-call or standby time refers to any time you spend not actively working, but still under your employer's control. In other words, while you may not be performing any of your job's duties, you also cannot do what you wanted to do. This typically involves being told by your employer that you must have the company's cell phone or pager with you at all times after your normal office hours. So it's important to understand your right to be paid for the time so that you are not taking advantage of. Some examples of on-call time for which you should be paid include restaurant workers who are told to be available to come into work when the restaurant is shorthanded during a dinner rush. Healthcare professionals, such as nurses, are instructed that they must arrive at the hospital within 30 minutes of being called by a supervisor. And security guards, who have to be on the premises in order to respond to disturbances. In all of these examples, the worker is not actively working, but has to be ready to work. This keeps them from committing much of their time to something that they wanted to do. When you're on call, your time still belongs to your employer because you cannot head out on a road trip, invest in a nice night out, or take your kids to the water park. Many people don't even want to sit down and start a movie when they know their work phone might interrupt them at any time. While time spent sleeping can indeed count as an on-call time, many workers find it difficult to get quality sleep with on-call duty looming over them. For all of these reasons, your employer must pay you adequately for on-call time. Under California labor law, there are factors that can be used to determine whether your employer has enough control over you during on-call or standby time for the time to be considered working hours that you need to be paid. Some of these factors are as follows: whether you are required to live on the premises or work site, whether there are significant geographical restrictions on your free movements, whether the frequency of the calls back to work are unduly restricted, whether there are restrictive time limits regarding your response to being called in, whether you have an option and could easily trade your on-call responsibilities with a coworker, whether you engaged in significant personal activities during the on-call time, or is the time primarily spent for employer and its business. The determination as to whether you should be paid for the on-call or standby depends on the extent of the control your employer has on you during that time. And it depends on each specific fact and circumstances. The more control your employer has over your time, then you should be paid for that time. If you think that your employer owes you money for unpaid on-call hours, you have the legal right to seek justice. If you have any questions on this topic, please contact my office for free consultation. Please be sure to like and subscribe and turn on your notifications.